In today's episode of the Pathway Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Sharon Palermo, and she's hailing over as the head of growth over at Trender. And Trender is basically all about growth through social selling for B2B. And today we want to really deep dive what Trender is all about, but also how Sharon is thinking about growth for the company. So, Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So maybe give us a 360 overview in your own words. What is Trender all about?
Well, Trender, like you said, it's really for smart social selling, right? And when we think of that, we're like, hey, yeah, I already use LinkedIn or I already use Twitter, and I reach out to folks and DM them. But this is more than that, right? This is actually getting to know those prospects that you are targeting, right? So you're able to create a search query, and we call these topic channels, and then you're able to get the recommendations, right? So across all the social channels that you would be using, right? So let's just say you use LinkedIn, you use Twitter, you use Instagram, TikTok, for your prospecting. You're able to do a search across all of those social media channels at one time, and then being able to get like fed their posts, right, from specific individuals, which is great when you think about it, because now instead of, you know, line by line of like marketing, and hey, I'm in marketing, right? So line by line of marketing does an event. Let's just say you did a workshop and you get 20 contact names. You're able to actually plug those into Trender, and get search results based on those individuals. And you're even able to be able to export those from it, and then even work those lists as well if those are hot leads. I look at it like, I used to work with BDR teams very closely, and just the amount of discovery work that goes into prospecting is outrageous. It's like 20% of an SDR's day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Trender allows, for you to reduce that amount of time and actually get quicker results.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Now, who would you say is benefiting the most? Like, who would be sort of, organizations, teams, positions? Like, who is a great fit? Like, how much, social selling do I need to do already? Can I be brand new to it? Maybe tell us sort of a, customer that fits really well on Trend.
Yeah, so think about it like I just explained, right? I worked very closely with BDR teams, or whatever you want to call them, SDRs, and sales, right? And the amount of energy that goes into creating campaigns for your sales approach is just astronomical. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't pay out, right? I mean, I had like a source from email analytics and from HubSpot, a study that they did, that your average B2B open rate for emails is about 20%. Now it's going to start dwindling when it comes just from sales, where it's like on average a 9%. And then you know what? That's okay. But what really matters is the response rate, which then becomes 1%, right? So the idea, not only for sales, but as a marketer who worked very closely and aligned with sales with, for campaigns, especially in an ABM approach, you want to have you want to connect those dots so that you are remembered. There's brand recall. You create a digital relationship with those folks that you are targeting, right? So sales really, revenue teams would really be the customer that would get the most benefit out of using Trender.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say? How do they learn about Trend now? Like, what are sort of the channels that they go through, or the channels that you guys leverage throughout their buyer's journey?
So right now, we're still in startup mode, right? We're like running our more and more digital, right? So we do the same thing, right? Well, we kind of eat our own dog food, right? Which I think any technology company should.
Of course.
And we use our tool to go after, those companies, those contacts. We also run workshops, which are great. We do social selling workshops. We've had a couple just recently. And, I'm using more of the digital ads, so the social display ads, as well as Google, Google AdWords, and we're going to be running some tests on display with Google as well. So it really is, getting the message across and then targeting those folks in a manner that we want to get like our like customers, right? The people that fit our product.
And how do you think about the website? Like, what role do you feel it plays at the moment?
The website, well, it's funny that you say that, because social really is the window into your product or your brand. I think now more so, it used to be the website, right? It used to be the window into your product, whereas now people are knocking on your social media channel doors to find out more about you. So I think having more visibility as an individual, right? And we talk about as an individual, as a salesperson, right? As an SDR, and creating your brand and creating that presence is going to help you a lot more, than the website, because quite frankly, people are talking openly on social, and therefore more is found out there than going, oh, I'm going to just go visit this website, or what kind of keywords do I need to plug in so I know what I'm looking for, because sometimes you don't even know what you're looking for. And as an SDR or account executive, you want to get to those folks when they don't know what they're looking for. Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, first one at the door is the one at the table.
Very cool. Okay, so I mean, we talked a bit about the product, we talked about the growth, we talked about the website a bit, and additional channels. I would love to switch gears a little bit and talk about sort of your journey as a marketer a bit. What I'm curious about is, because there's so much information out there, right? There's so many blogs, podcasts, I mean, endless. Like, where do you personally find like high quality information that you leverage to keep on learning as a marketer?
It's I prefer to listen to like podcast as well as workshops. I think the shorter version workshops, where I'm going to get what I need, right? I understand, like, you want to do that thought leadership and you have the hour-long webinar, but people just don't have time today, right? We just don't have time, and we've seen those numbers drop with people who participate in these type of programs that really just, yes, I already understand. I'm going to give an example. Like, I said, oh, I want to watch this webinar about the fall of cookies, and it brought me from the beginning of like what cookies, what cookies is. And I'm like, I already know this, right? And then I checked out, right? And which is too bad, because probably at the end of the day, he delivered some really good information. And quite frankly, I want to, get into the meat more so, versus all of the buffer around it. So for me as a marketer, I want to deliver that experience as well, because I know how little time I have, and the time that I can give myself to learn something. I want to be able to get what's going to help me. We joked about it in a meeting just previous to this call, and we were like, yeah, they call it just-in-time learning, right? On YouTube. How do I do this, right? I needed to change the brakes on my car, and it was like, I need to learn how to do that right now, right? And I was able to do it. So it's what's most important to folks is get me the information that's going to help me move the needle. And so to me, learning from experiences from others that are have as much as experience as I do, more or little, we all have different methods. And I want to learn some new methods, and so I can be more efficient in my role. So yeah, I would say more like the workshops and hands-on and listening versus reading.
Makes sense. Now, as we're slowly approaching the end of the interview, I would have some rapid fire questions to get to know you and your journey a little bit better. Are you ready for those?
Yeah, I hope.
So what is the last book that you read?
So that's funny. I actually I'm not going to swear on here, but it's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. um and it's funny because we're all in like a search of happiness, right? And there's this one, and I'm a fan of Audible. When you say read, it's more like I listen.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because like when I'm working, I want to be able to actually have some creative juices flowing. So it's music or it's a book. So what I was saying about like happiness is it comes from solving problems, and I thought that was such a great way of looking at it. It comes from solving problems, but then solving problems generates new problems, right? So in the end, true happiness comes by having problems that you enjoy and then having the enjoyment from solving them, right? And so think about like your problems of, I'd really like to travel, or what kind of great food would I like to eat this weekend? You know what I mean? So it was really simplistic in how they positioned it. And it wasn't like that self-help, mentality when you need self-affirmation in front of your own mirror to say that you're happy, because if you have to tell yourself you're happy, are you really happy? Right? So
There's some truth to
yeah,
that.
that was actually a great read.
Very cool. What would you say is the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
What we're focused on the most at the moment is really growing our business, right? Like I said, we're in startup mode, early stage. And so we've pivoted a little bit here and there. We looked at it from more of a social media manager using our platform to saying, you know what, the technology is there to actually grow business for other startups, but help sales teams, revenue teams, with their prospecting and getting more qualified leads and reducing the amount of time and discovery, as well as enterprise, right? Because it's the same thing. The story is the same. We all want, at the end of the day, everybody wants sales, right? And regardless of the size of your business. So, we pivoted and shifted to a more of that, like I said, the social selling, story, and building a strong product on that. So yeah.
Very good. For the very last question, I would like to ask you, if today would be your very first day working on Trender, what's the one advice you would give yourself?
Be okay with fast changes, right? Primarily I've worked in like SMB and enterprise companies, and you have a little bit more time to make decisions, right? And I'm not saying that you should be rash in making your decisions, but you should be okay with, hey, that might fail, but it's okay because we can fail fast, right? And it's get up and then you learn lessons. So I think that's huge, especially for other folks that are looking to go into startup, but not even that. It's teams need to be okay with failure, because with failure comes learning and growth.
Very cool, Sharon. I really appreciate you took the time with us today to be a guest on Pathmark Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Trender, what's the one thing that people should remember?
Trender is going to help you make more money faster, right? Because instead of, like I said, one by one, discovery research, per contact, you're able to, upload a list right into Trender and, get quicker results with, the folks that you want to go after. So you actually create more of a relationship with them, because you get more information. That's what are they interested in? What are their problems, that they're trying to solve at work? And then even company announcements, you know what I mean? So it goes across the board that you reduce the time in discovery. And quite frankly, that's huge, because, you know, the more time you spend in discovery, the less time you're selling.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathfunk Presents.
Thank you so much.